I don't think we were designed biologically to have to do all that.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And so when you look at the biological structures, the way that our minds operate, we get dopamine hits for the things that are biologically necessary to sustain life. And I use that loosely because like sex engages in dopamine, or it releases dopamine. And that's not necessary for life, but
it's necessary for
it
life to continue.
Right. And so it's very interesting that our bodies have evolved naturally to encourage us through the use of hormones to do the things that we need to do in order to survive. And for humans, a lot of that is social interactions. So those constant checks to revisit your post, you know, if I post something, it's like in the next hour, I'm going to go back to it 5 times.
Guilty. And then if you're not paying attention and you don't realize that, you know, as I've been, you know, working to grow my own personal brand and then the brand for the podcast, I've got a couple of really cool tools that help me see, based on last week's activity of the people on my page, when the best time to post is. And so if you're not aware of any of that stuff and then you post something maybe at a way off time for the day and you don't know because that just happens to be the time you post and there's like no engagement with it, oh, fuck, people hate me.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I had no idea about that. Like on the marketing side of things, it makes sense because there are specific ideal times to target people with an email campaign, for example. Like early in the mornings on Tuesdays tend to be the best times. Because on Mondays, everybody's checking their email from Friday afternoon. They got emails over the weekend. And so your email just gets drowned out amongst all the other noise.
Makes a lot of sense.
So Tuesday mornings, people are waking up to a clean inbox. It's still at the beginning of the week, so people are focused and not thinking about the weekend. So it just makes sense. But it's interesting that we attach so much of our perceived value of ourselves, our self-value, to these personas that we're creating on social media. And so if you're, just like you said, if you don't get enough likes, you start thinking about yourself, or is it the content that I posted that people aren't liking? Is it me? Is it my page? Was it a post that I had last week that might have offended people?
When you get a post that maybe you got posted at the very right time and it's the perfect picture and message that really resonates with your audience, and it just fucking goes off the charts, and you get all these comments, all these likes, and it really in your mind goes, this is normal.
It blows things out of proportions.
And then the next one comes in and it goes back to what your true normal is at maybe half or less than half of that. And then you go, why does everyone hate me today? They loved me yesterday. And these might not be actual thoughts. They might be, but subconsciously that's what's going on and that's how we're reacting.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about social media is that that same concept can apply to our podcast if I extrapolate it out, because there are things that I've said on this podcast that I'm like, I second guess it. I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But the reality is that I'm not perfect and I make mistakes. And sometimes I say things that haven't been filtered as much as I would have liked for them to, but it's very raw and it's genuine.
Makes one of us. I always come off perfect.
Well, I know that. That's why I enjoy doing this with you. But on social media, you have so much more control over that. I mean, in theory, we can go back and edit out the things that we don't like that we've said on air.
That's a lot of work, and I ain't about that.
Well, honestly, I'd rather just be our true selves. And I think at its core, we've talked about this before, but having this podcast allows us to grow ourselves, because putting our ideas out there, or opening our dumb mouths, my dumb mouth, let me speak for myself.
It's our dumb mouths.
Is a growing opportunity.
Yeah.
And so on social media, everybody's aware of this. Every person I follow is hilarious. Every person I follow is on vacation. Every person that I follow has a great relationship. Life is peachy on social media.
It's so unreal. But it's because that's what people want to go see. People want to go escape whatever it is in their life and go, well, let me go see what might inspire me. And that's probably the intention. But then the reality is you go look and go, wow, they always have it together. I'm a piece of shit.
I'm not even sure I'd go that far to say that that's the intention. I think a lot of times it's the intention to inspire your audience.
Well, I mean, I'm talking as a consumer.
Oh, I see.
When I go look, I want to go be inspired. And sometimes I am, but then I go look at, you know, whoever I'm following that I love. And I'm like, damn, maybe one day I'll be at that spot where I have it all together.
Yeah, what it's done is it's taken that same concept of keeping up with the Joneses and expanded it to not your 4 neighbors, but to the whole
Goddamn
world.
world. And it's not, oh, shit, it's this quarter or this year and the neighbor got a new car and they need to keep up with it. It's this minute, this person did this. This minute, this person's in Fiji. This minute, this person got a new car. This minute, this person got a promotion. This minute, this person launched a new video that got 1 million views. And you're going, how in the world could I ever be anything?